Hello, my name is Katie Harris, and this is my final overview of my entire final major project. So we got given a audience brief, which had all our tasks on it, and the theme of our final major project, was illumination. When I first saw this, I struggled a bit because I initially wanted to do a horror novel, and I was thinking, how could I put illumination into words? That was my main concern, because when I pictured illumination, I thought it was something you had to visually look at, and I didn't know how to make illumination work with words, because I wanted it to be something that you could look at, and words you have to read and you imagine yourself. So my initial idea was to have this little boy or girl, following this light, and the light would have been my illumination. It would have had something to do with it, but I did struggle a bit. I was excited by the task of it, but I struggled a bit to find how illumination could work with the story, because illumination is such a vast thing. But for me, I personally thought that you had to visually see the illumination, and that's not something you can do in a book. Target audience. In the brief, the target audience is everybody, but for me, I sort of specialised in teenagers, although I did try and fit everyone in, and I think my primary research did fit everyone in, but my secondary research was a bit, fully focused on teenagers. But I did think I had an array of different opinions and results from target audience. On primary research, I asked the impact of horror novels on people in the world. There have been some very famous horror novels that have got turned into films, and I wanted to research the impact of that, because I feel like it's very important, and I wanted to research the importance of them. I asked people about their views on horror novels. I especially asked my English teacher, and I was quite proud of that, because asking people already is not a very strong suit of mine, and to have an English teacher's opinion who works with books and who teaches books, I got some very good insight into that. We had a discussion about how books can get turned into film, and how sometimes they can't relate what's in the book into the film because of all the difficulties that there is on that task. So I think it was very interesting to see from that point of view. And secondary research obviously was how horror novels affect teenagers. I think I saw one article that was like, why teenagers shouldn't read horror novels, and I found that interesting, because if I wanted to set my target audience to be teenagers, I found it interesting to research why and how they could be affected by horror novels. And I thought that was important, because if I want to write a horror novel, I can't have it affect anyone who may read it. But no, my research findings did help quite a bit. And then production outcomes. See, I originally wanted to write a novel, and one of my classmates, Megan, wanted to make a short horror film. So I was thinking, I have a horror novel, she has a horror film, and our research weren't that different from each other, that I thought that we could put our heads together and make our own project. So I teamed up with Megan, and my idea was that I would write a short horror novel, and then we'd adapt it into the film. And going back to my research, this was an important thing, because I also researched books turning into films, and I feel like I did that in my project. So, we had many ideas floating around, but we decided to go with one that I made up. But with Megan's help, it was all, Megan had her own ideas, I had mine. Production outcomes, I didn't really know what to expect. I was excited, because the prospect of making a film of my novel is exciting, but I didn't quite know what to expect from it. So I was very much open. So I didn't really have any production outcomes. But for my marketing final product, I did. I think I did most of the marketing except for Megan made the trailer. I made a poster, which you can see here, and I made the logo. And I also made the Facebook page, but I feel like we should have broadened that a bit more because we only had 4 things. I feel like we could have got more social media like Twitter, Instagram. We could have, personally, I could have done behind the scenes, as in my last project I was a PR and I'm used to doing that. So I could have done behind the scenes, and I especially like interviews. I would have liked to sat me and Megan down and we could have been interviewed, and so people could see all the work and the thought and the creativeness that we put into the project. But summary conclusion, so we made the video, we made the film, and it went well. Filming was done in 3 days, and we only had to refilm on one of the days, and I feel like that's a very positive thing because filming can take a long time and refilming can take ages, but I'm working with Megan, who's very dedicated and easy to work with, and who is determined to get it done. It pushes you to get it done. So I think we did quite well on our project. And we both had ideas in it that we both contributed to. And I think my main concern was that I didn't contribute enough. But looking back on it, I can see which ideas were mine and which ideas were Megan. And I feel like we have such a substantial amount, of us put into it. So I'm quite proud of our work. And if I could change things, I'd probably make it a bit longer, have more of a storyline. We were trying so hard to fit it all into one little space. But for what we've done and the results that we've got back from it, I just am incredibly amazed at what we've done.